Risk management is defined as controlling financial and personal injury losses from a sudden, unforeseen, unusual accidents and unintentional torts. It is used as a tool to prevent legal liability and maintain and deliver a quality program. A risk management plan includes what to do to control risks and why the steps are followed. A risk management plan includes 4 steps: risk identification, risk evaluation, risk treatment, and risk implementation. One risk I've encountered here at Penn State was during my very first Thon weekend. Thon weekend is an exciting time where the entire Penn State community packs the Bryce Jordan Center for 46 hours for the kids. One downside to Thon is waiting in line for hours before the event actually starts. A few weeks before Thon chairs from each organization eagerly wait to get their time to get in line. This is done on the computer and with the click of a button at midnight. On the day of Thon chairs pick up wristbands for their organization and get in a very large roped off line at the time they were allotted. Thon takes place at the end of February, so the weather conditions are usually freezing or snowy, but Thon goers usually wait in this line outside for about 3 hours. Keep in mind, since you are going into Thon, participants usually dress pretty light because there is not much room for jackets and large clothing in the BJC during the weekend. Once it is an organization's time slot, they are given new bracelets and brought to the security line to finally enter the BJC. This is when the craziness really begins. Once in the BJC, organizations full on sprint to get their favorite Thon section to be close to their dancers during the 46-hour event. This is where the risk really comes in and is caused by Penn State Thon and by public liability caused by negligence. Rules and regulations at Thon knows how crazy picking sections get and still implements the same early access lines every single year. Like I said earlier, the risk management process has 4 steps, which are risk identification, risk evaluation, risk treatment, and risk implementation. Let's start with risk identification. The first step has to do with actually acknowledging the fact that there is a risk involved in a situation. The 4 types of identification are public liability caused by negligence, public liability other than negligence, property exposures, and financial risks due to business operations. For this plan, we are going to be dealing with the early access line at Penn State Thon, which is a public liability caused by negligence. The second step, which is risk evaluation, has to do with the frequency and severity of the risk. In this case, the frequency is low because Thon only happens once a year, but the severity is medium to high. Having large groups of people running around the BJC to claim a section can cause serious harm and injury to participants. People can get trampled, fall, or even pushed over by other participants. Another risk is weather. Since it is so cold outside, it is unhealthy to have participants who are about to stay awake for 46 hours standing in the freezing cold. The third step is risk treatment, and there are 4 options: avoid or close, transfer, retention, or reduction. Since our risk is low frequency and medium to high severity, I am proposing we reduce the risk by implementing a plan, which is the 4th step. To implement a risk management plan with the early access line at Thon, I recommend Thon changes the way they allow orgs to enter the BJC. Instead of allotting Thon chairs a time to wait in line to get into the BJC, Thon should be allotting a number to each org. The org can then pick their section before Thon starts to avoid the running around situation. Orgs will also receive a time they are allowed to enter the BJC, but they will already know their section. This will also reduce the risk of weather inclement problems because orgs will just show up to the front, get a wristband, and be able to walk over to their section and wait inside for Thon to begin. Thon would also train R&R to deal with any issues between organizations during Thon weekend to ensure safety between all participants.